What is going on, Laker fans? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Lakers Talk Daily. On this Tuesday, we're going to talk a little bit about Myles Turner, his campaign to be a Los Angeles Laker, and if the Lakers should go make a deal for Myles Turner. So we're going to do all that. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. As always, if you're new to the channel, ESPN LA is putting out a ton of content, streaming a lot of our shows live, and then, of course, I do this show Monday through Friday. One topic that we think is relevant to Laker fans, and we throw it on here, so please subscribe to the channel. Let's start off with Myles Turner here. So Myles Turner was on with Adrian Wojnarowski's podcast. I think everybody saw it, so I'm not going to spend too much time reading what he said, but I'm just going to react, and I want to just throw it out to Laker fans, what you think this organization, the front office, should do in regards to this. He said, if I'm the Lakers, this is Myles Turner talking, I take a very hard look at this. With the position that you're in, I know what I can provide for a team. He's talking about the Lakers potentially giving up 2 draft picks, going to get Myles Turner and Buddy Hield. Let's just say Myles Turner wants out of Indiana and he wants to play for the Los Angeles Lakers. Okay, so a couple things here. First off, I will say I'm not that optimistic that the Lakers are going to make a trade to go get Myles Turner. And part of me believes that that's not the case. There's a few things that I think are involved here. Number one, we've been talking about this specific trade for so long that I think you reach a point where you say, well, wouldn't they have just done it earlier if they were going to do it? So maybe something changes in 50 to 20 games. Maybe something changes down the road. But let me just play a hypothetical here, Laker fans. Let's say they went ahead and they made the trade. They bring in Myles Turner. They bring in Buddy Hield. They ship out Russ. They ship out a couple future draft picks. And the Lakers now have a starting unit. Their starting lineup is now Myles Turner at the 5, Anthony Davis at the 4, LeBron at the 3, and then let's just say they go Buddy Hield and Patrick Beverley to round up their top 5. Now you have coming off the bench, Lonnie Walker's coming off the bench, Kendrick Nunn, Austin Reeves, Troy Brown Jr. So you kind of go down the list of the different players that are coming to the Lakers. Is that team good enough to compete in the Western Conference? I'm not talking about go make the play-in tournament. I'm not talking about be a 7th seed in the Western Conference. I'm talking about, are they good enough to compete in the Western Conference against the Warriors, against the Denver Nuggets, against the Phoenix Suns? Go down the list of whatever elite teams that you want to call it in the West, even though the start of the season has been incredibly confusing of the teams that are playing well and the teams that are playing poorly. Is that enough? So your comments below if you do think that this is good or it's not good enough to compete in the Western Conference, legitimate compete in the West. You know, Laker fans, we've talked about this, and I always go back to Rob Pelinka when he said at Media Day that those 2 picks are so important, that you basically cannot get those 2 picks wrong. If you get those 2 picks wrong, if you get your next trade, if it doesn't land, and you don't have that 2027 and 2029, it means the Lakers can be in a world of hurt for a long time. That if you do make a trade and those picks are gone, that trade has to result in a team contending for an NBA championship. You're not guaranteed to win it, but you got to be at least contending and be one of the few teams that's got a shot in the Western Conference, be one of the few teams that's got a shot in the NBA. I actually think those 2 guys would fit really, really well with the Lakers. But I got, some concerns on that right out the gate. Part of my concerns would be, well, Myles Turner has also missed time. It's not like Myles Turner is in that lineup every single day. He's missed time with the Indiana Pacers, and he certainly has had his fair share of injuries. Anthony Davis, already having his fair share of injuries early in the season. What is Anthony Davis going to be over an 82-game span? I don't have that answer. We know Bron's in his 20th season and everything else. Are those 2 role players enough to put you in the conversation to compete with the elite? I definitely would not jump out of my seat and say, well, watch out for the Lakers now. I know they'd be better. I definitely think they'd be better. I think there'd be a team that, certainly could, compared to their current roster, that team would be a lot better with Myles Turner and Buddy Hield. But does it put them in the conversation that Rob Pelinka's hoping for? If he traded that 2027 and that 2029 pick, I don't feel like they're all of a sudden the team in the Western Conference that everyone's looking at and saying, watch out for the Lakers. Now, I could be wrong. Now, something could happen here over the course of over time, and then you start watching that team and you start saying to yourself, hey, you know what, this team is a team that can't compete. The interesting thing that kind of has laid into this, you could layer it in the last couple of days, is for the first time, in my opinion, since Russell Westbrook has come to the Lakers, it actually looks like he has a role. For the first time, it feels like Russell Westbrook coming off the bench is perfect for him. And he might be able to thrive in that role. The problem is we've only seen 2 games with it. So I wouldn't be surprised that, remember when Woj was saying this a couple weeks ago, don't expect some kind of trade for teams to start chatting again till after Thanksgiving, till you get into December. I mean, there's a whole number of players that can't even be traded till December 15th, and that might be a whole list of new teams for the Lakers, new opportunities for the Lakers to have conversations with. So I'm okay with the Lakers, at least for now, pumping the brakes and saying, okay, let's see if we have anything with Russ coming off the bench first. And let's see if the Lakers could potentially just start winning some games so everything doesn't seem so desperate, because we know when they started out 0-5 how desperate it looked. And they've only won 1 game. So Pelicans, Jazz, and the Cavs coming up. Pelicans are a good team, period. The Jazz started the season out 6-2. And Cleveland might be one of the quiet dark horses in the Eastern Conference that can compete in the East. So I think the rest of this week I'm curious about. I need a larger sample size of Russell Westbrook coming off the bench, and let's see what the Lakers can do from there. So I think all that will come into play for me. And as far as Myles Turner campaigning to be a Laker, awesome. That's great. I got a feeling the Lakers are going to be a little bit patient on this one and see where they are in the next couple of weeks. So Laker fans, do you want to see that trade go down, or do you feel like for the first time we might be seeing something with Russ that you want to get a little bit larger of a sample size on? Your comments below. Please subscribe to the channel on ESPN LA. You could also subscribe to my YouTube channel on Lakers Talk with Alan Sliwa, so you could do that as well. Thank you for being here. Tomorrow we'll be back, talk a little bit about the Lakers and the Pelicans before their first matchup of the season. Lake fans, have a good rest of your day.